you imagine that in 2026, the world's only superpower, America, will lose to a country on which it has been imposing sanctions for the last 40 years? This is not what I am saying, but what Professor Sain says, whose two predictions about Donald Trump have already come true, and now the world is waiting for the third one. This war, which could forever change the world, is not an ordinary conspiracy theory, but a frightening prediction by Professor Sain, a well-known expert in game theory, and according to him, this prediction is rapidly turning into reality. If it proves to be true, then within the next 6 months, the money lying in your bank account could turn into worthless paper, and the entire global system may change forever. In this video, we will expose the secret script that mainstream media is hiding from you. We will see how Iran's cheap drones costing only a few $100s are destroying the pride of America's trillion-dollar military power, and most importantly, we will discuss whether Donald Trump's emergency war powers or political ambitions are pushing the entire world toward destruction, a path that allegedly connects to secret societies and end-times agendas. In the next few minutes, you are going to see a side of reality that the world may not even realize yet. Welcome once again to Zemverse TV. Viewers, Professor Sain's first prediction was that Donald Trump would win the election again, and that prediction turned out to be completely true. His second prediction was that as soon as Trump returned to power, a terrifying war would begin between America and Iran, and that also happened. But his third prediction, which shocked everyone, was that in this war, the world's biggest superpower, the United States, would suffer a serious defeat. This is not just a prediction, because there are several logical arguments behind it. In today's video, we will analyze this third and most dangerous prediction and understand how a military superpower could possibly lose to Iran. Professor Sain, who is an expert in game theory and geopolitical events, clearly stated in his interview that America cannot win this war under any circumstances. According to his deep analysis, Iran has not been preparing for this conflict for just a year or two, but almost 20 years. Within Iran's Islamic regime, this conflict is often viewed as a final battle in which they consider America the Great Satan. In previous confrontations, Iran gained valuable experience and carefully studied the strengths, weaknesses, defense systems, and response patterns of both the United States and Israel. They had months to prepare for the next stage, and during that time, their dialogue with the United States was mostly a way to buy time. Instead of confronting America directly, Iran is effectively using proxy groups such as the Houthis in Yemen, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Palestine, and various Shia militias in Iraq and Syria. Together, these groups have studied America's military mentality and strategy, and their goal is not just to kill American soldiers, but to weaken the entire American empire and disrupt the global economy. Instead of attacking the United States directly, Iran is targeting countries that form the backbone of America's economic system, especially the GCC countries, including Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Bahrain. Iran's strategy is extremely dangerous and carefully planned because they are not just targeting military bases, but also critical energy infrastructure and water systems. In many Middle Eastern countries, there are very limited natural sources of drinking water, so they rely heavily on desalination plants that convert seawater into drinkable water. More than 60% of their water supply comes from these plants. Professor Sain gave a frightening example, explaining that if a small Iranian drone costing only a few $100s strikes and destroys a major desalination plant in Riyadh, a city with around 10 million people could run out of drinking water within just 2 weeks, and an entire city could start suffering from severe water shortages. At the same time, Iran has also threatened to disrupt important sea routes like the Strait of Hormuz, through which a massive portion of global oil and food supplies pass. Many people think such tensions would only cause inflation or temporary economic disturbances, but according to this analysis, Iran's strategy could threaten the very stability of countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE. These countries are extremely important to the United States because of the petrodollar system. They sell oil globally in US dollars, which keeps global demand for the dollar high, and then they reinvest those dollars into the American economy through stock markets, real estate, and other investments. Today, a large portion of America's economic growth is connected to artificial intelligence and technology sectors, and huge investments in AI data centers are coming from Gulf states and other wealthy Arab countries. If this war prevents those countries from selling oil or weakens their economies, they may stop investing in the United States, and if that happens, the so-called AI investment bubble could burst and cause serious economic consequences for the American economy. Professor Sain even described this situation as something similar to a financial Ponzi scheme. This raises another question. Why is the world's most advanced and powerful military unable to easily stop these cheap drones? The reason is that much of America's military structure and mindset was developed during the era of World War II and the Cold War, when the competition was about who had the most advanced, expensive, and complex technology. However, modern warfare has changed dramatically, and today's conflicts often involve asymmetrical warfare, where very cheap weapons can damage extremely expensive systems. For example, defense experts were surprised by reports showing that multiple interceptor missiles have to be launched to stop a single incoming missile. Meanwhile, Iranian Shahed drones, such as the Shahed 136, also known as Giran-2, are relatively simple and low-cost weapons that have become extremely effective in modern warfare. These drones use small piston engines and can travel long distances using limited fuel while flying at low altitudes, which makes them difficult to detect and intercept. Despite being only a few meters wide, they can carry significant explosive payloads. Stopping such drones with expensive interceptor missiles can cost millions of dollars, creating a major financial imbalance in warfare. When a $50,000 drone forces a defense system to fire a multi-million-dollar missile, it becomes extremely difficult to sustain such defense for a long period. As a result, America's stock of expensive interceptor missiles is gradually decreasing, and it has even had to use military reserves that were originally intended for potential conflicts in Asia involving China. If this situation continues, the global system could gradually shift toward a multipolar world where American influence declines. So far, the United States and Israel have mainly relied on airstrikes, but history shows that no country has successfully changed another country's government through air power alone. Regime change usually requires ground troops. However, American officials have repeatedly stated that the United States currently has no intention of sending ground forces into Iran. In the coming months, America may face increasing pressure from allies such as Israel and certain Arab states to take stronger military action because they fear the growing influence of Iran. According to Professor Sain, there are several reasons why Donald Trump may have chosen this path. One reason is overconfidence, possibly influenced by previous successful operations that created the impression that American military power could easily handle similar conflicts. Another reason is political advantage, as geopolitical tensions can sometimes strengthen political positions domestically. Some analysts also point to financial and political connections involving influential donors and allies who strongly support aggressive policies in the region. According to U.S. law, a president cannot normally serve a third term, but debates about political influence and financial backing often arise during intense geopolitical conflicts. The professor also mentioned controversial theories involving powerful global groups and secret societies that some people believe influence international events. These theories often refer to organizations such as the Illuminati, Jesuits, Sabbatine Frankists, and Freemasons, although such claims remain widely debated and controversial. In the end, Professor Sain's analysis suggests that the United States may be entering a conflict where even victory could come with heavy costs. Past experiences in countries like Iraq, Libya, Syria, and Afghanistan show how complex and unpredictable wars in the region can become. For that reason, attacking Iran could potentially turn into a major strategic mistake. What do you think about this situation? Share your opinion in the comments section, and if you liked this Zemverse TV